What's up guys, and welcome to FilmCrop. Sit back, relax, and make sure to subscribe to see more of our recaps. Our movie today starts in 2079, Washington, D.C. CIA agent Snow is arrested for being suspected of murdering his boss, Colonel Frank Armstrong. Colonel Frank has uncovered evidence of a mole inside the agency selling secrets of the US space program to enemies. Snow is getting interrogated, or shall I say tortured, by Secret Service Director Scott. And Scott claims he saw Snow killing Frank with his own eyes. Snow denies killing Frank, who has been his friend for years, and argues he was set up by the mole. But Scott is torturing Snow to find out where he hid the briefcase that Frank had, which contained evidence on who the mole is. Scott then shows him a video showing Snow supposedly killing Frank. At this point, Snow figures Scott is probably the mole, and he believes this because Scott claimed that he saw Snow kill with his own eyes, and he saw the evidence video that was apparently fabricated. Because of this, Snow refuses to give up who he gave the briefcase to before he got arrested, and makes jokes when he is asked, which unsurprisingly pisses off Scott, and he gets to torture him some more. CIA agent Harry Shaw then enters the investigation room, and Scott monitors them through the one-way glass. Snow and Harry are friends, so Snow trusts him. Harry gives him a cigarette and asks Snow who he gave the briefcase to. Snow, not wanting to tell Scott, writes the name Mace using the ash of the cigarette. Then we are taken to a flashback and we see what happened the night Frank was killed. We see Snow and Frank getting ambushed, and Frank gets shot and gives Snow his lighter and the briefcase. Snow then runs with the briefcase and gives it to Mace, his backup man, at the train station. Just right after that, Snow got arrested and Mace hid the briefcase in the train station before he too got arrested by the local police for an unrelated crime we don't know about. Meanwhile, the daughter of the President of the United States, Emily, travels to MS-1, a maximum security prison in space. And this is the kind of prison where convicts are frozen inside a small box. Think of it as a hibernation pod where you just fall asleep. And Emily is at the prison to investigate claims that these status chambers might be affecting prisoners' minds, leading to psychosis and dementia. She's also there to investigate the claims that these prisoners are being used as guinea pigs on behalf of a large corporation who sponsors the prison. The prison warden denies this, and to prove things to Emily, they awaken one of the prisoners, Heidel, so she can interview him. Heidel is put into the interrogation room and Emily asks him about his treatment, but Heidel is just acting weirdly aggressive, and he tells her that he wants to do her, and Emily's bodyguard Hawk then gets angry and pins Heidel to the desk and threatens him and orders him to give her the answers she asked for. But Heidel takes his gun and shoots him on the shoulder. He then takes out Emily's other guard and breaks off his handcuffs. Emily runs to the control room, but he manages to shoot her on the leg. Heidel then enters the control room and frees all of the prisoners and starts a riot. The prisoners, led by Heidel's brother Alex, quickly take over the prison, killing the guards and holding hostage Emily and her associates. You see, Heidel just wants one thing, and that one thing is to have his way with Emily, if you know what I mean. But before he could do that, Alex stops him and orders him not to touch the hostages. Alex plans to use the hostages to get a spaceship to escape the prison. The news has reached the president, and Scott advises to send the Marines to take out the prisoners. But Harry sends Snow to the ship to rescue Emily first before sending in the Marines. The president agrees and orders the Marines to hold off. Harry then goes to Snow, who's now facing a 30-year sentence in prison for murder, and he offers him the job. Snow refuses at first, but Harry reveals that Mace is also at the MS-1, and Snow agrees to do the job because he wants to talk to Mace. After a few hours, they arrive at a police station within Earth's low orbit, and Snow heads to the MS-1, hidden in a spaceship transporting a hostage negotiator. Scott is using the negotiator as the first choice since the prisoners don't know she's actually the president's daughter. During their meeting, the negotiator, knowing that Emily has a wounded leg, convinces Alex to release an injured female hostage as a sign of goodwill. Alex agrees to give Emily, but Heidel doesn't want to give her up because he has his own needs. And Heidel then shoots Emily's friend Catherine, figuring if the negotiator is interested in one injured female, he can take her instead of Emily. But he's shot Catherine fatally and she dies shortly after. Seeing the negotiation is going south, Scott tells Snow to infiltrate the prison, but he gets seen by one of Alex's men, and realizing that it was a trap, Alex kills the negotiator and orders his men to find and kill Snow. Shortly after, Alex finds Emily's ID and figures out she's the president's daughter. He now knows he has a strong negotiating power and sends Emily and Hawk to another room so that Heidel doesn't touch her until they get what they want. Predictably, Emily and Hawk manage to beat up the only one person who was holding them, and they run into a secure storage room. Hawk then shoots the electronic lock so that Alex can't get to them. However, this causes the oxygen in the room to run out, and this scenario ends with Hawk killing himself to provide more oxygen to Emily, the president's daughter, because she's more important. Meanwhile, Scott and Harry are tracking Emily through a chip which only the president's families have. And this chip can also track your vitals and your oxygen levels and stuff, and Emily only has 5 minutes left before she runs out of oxygen and dies. Alex brings one of the abducted engineers and makes him open the storage room. At the same time, Snow travels through the vents and he manages to enter the storage room and rescue Emily just before Alex breaks down the door. And here Alex realizes that Snow must be getting some form of guidance from the outside and cuts off all the communication to the ship, leaving Snow in the dark. Snow and Emily travel through the vents and they fall into the med bay. He treats her wounds and then makes some chemical mixture to make a black dye, and then cuts her hair short and dyes her hair black so she can look like a boy and be disguised from Alex's men. After that, they both wear prison uniforms and go to the main prison hub to find Mace. After a little search, they find Mace, but they find him acting weird and talking gibberish. Emily tells Snow that the status chamber has caused dementia on Mace, causing him to act this way and talk a bunch of nonsense. And from the way Mace is acting, she confirms her theory from earlier. Their cover gets blown when they're stopped by a convict and asked to give the password to pass. Snow sucker punches the guy and they manage to escape from the hub. Snow and Emily and Mace attempt to reach the escape pod through the lower levels, but the ISS satellite crashes against the MS-1 and Emily and Snow manage to get inside the pod room, but Mace gets stuck behind them. He utters the words, "A lullaby, I see you, I foresee you," to Emily before he freezes to death. Snow puts Emily in the escape pod, which she thought had 2 seats, and he lies and tells her that there's another pod and they'll meet there. And we see the pod leave, but Emily has climbed out of it before it left. He asks her why she didn't go, and she tells him she wants to save the hostages. And she then claims that she knows where the briefcase is and that Mace told her, and that she would only tell him if he helped her rescue the hostages. And since Snow doesn't really want to spend 30 years of his life inside a prison, he reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Heidel is getting really impatient. He uses the ship's communications and threatens to kill every hostage if she doesn't bring herself to him. And when she sees the message, Emily comes back and reveals her location. Heidel then kills all the hostages anyway, making him lose any leverage he has, and Snow and Emily see this and they run to another part of the station to escape from him. On their way, they discover another medbay where prisoners were illegally being used as test subjects. And before they knew it, bam! Alex appears behind them and puts his gun on Snow. Snow managed to fight off Alex at first but gets overpowered and falls inside a hole, and Alex presumes he died. Alex then takes Emily to the control room where he finds all the other hostages dead, and then he beats up Heidel a little and then calls the president. Apparently the president has also arrived at the police space station, and Alex, after calling the president, tells him that he's gonna let his brother Heidel educate Emily if they are not released. And by educate, I actually mean he was going to let his brother touch Emily. Then Alex puts Emily on the phone, but she tells her father that everybody's dead and to blow up the prison. Scott agrees with Emily and orders the Marines to take over, but the president refuses. However, Scott temporarily relieves the president of his duties, citing the 25th Amendment of not being in the right mindset to lead the country. And he got the VP's signature and Congress's approval to do this. Scott then orders an airstrike to destroy the MS-1. And meanwhile, back in the prison, they have lost hope, and Heidel is preparing to touch the president's daughter, but his brother stops him, and this really pisses off Heidel, and so he stabs and kills his own brother. Heidel then turns to Emily and tries to stab her, but Snow stops him and knocks him out. Apparently, he didn't really die in that hole. After knocking him out, Emily and Snow run from Heidel and the other prisoners as they chase them. Meanwhile, the Marines have placed a bomb on the MS-1 which will detonate in 30 seconds. With Harry's guidance, Snow and Emily find a special spacesuit that won't burn through the Earth's atmosphere, and they jump out of the MS-1 as the bombs explode, killing Heidel and the other prisoners. Snow and Emily enter the Earth safely and land in New York City, where Snow is arrested immediately and Emily is taken to the hospital. After some time, Emily is on the hospital bed where she remembers Mace's words, and she realizes that Mace's incoherent rambling was actually a code for the lock in the train station. She then goes to the subway and types ICU I4CU, which opens a locker, and she finds the briefcase inside. Emily then investigates the motel room where Frank died and figures out that what Scott saw was a reversed image because of a mirrored door, and that Snow was actually shooting at bad guys and not Frank. She then goes to her father and tells him what happened. And sometime later, Snow is in the investigation room and talking to Harry, and Snow tells Harry that he found the briefcase. And then he gives him the briefcase, which Harry manages to open immediately, even though he never told him the code, revealing Harry to be the mole all along. Scott watches the whole thing unfold, and then he arrests Harry. And then Harry monologues for about a minute about how he will get released soon because people like him are needed by the government, and Snow just shuts him up by punching him. Scott thanks Snow for his work and releases him, and on his way out, he examines the lighter Frank gave him and finds a memory card hidden by Frank. The memory card reveals secret information, and Snow keeps the memory card to himself. When he gets outside, he finds Emily waiting for him, and he thanks her for helping him to discover the mole and clear his name. And she tells him that she's found out something about him, and she teases him a little because his first name is actually Marion. And the movie ends on that delightful note. I hope you guys enjoyed our recap. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys on my next recap. I love you all. Bye.